to take the drink out of the bag.
That's a classic right there.
What does I got 5 on it mean?
It's about drugs.
It's not about drugs. It's a dope song. Don't do drugs.
Get in rhythm. There you go. There you go. Can't believe how big they've got.
Did you hear Gabe got a boat?
He's kidding, right?
He's not kidding.
Hey, I think it's vodka o'clock.
Oh, yeah.
Where's Jason?
Jason?
Jason! Where were you?
I didn't know if you were lost. Stick with me, and I'll keep you safe.
There's a family in our driveway.
It's probably the neighbors. But y'all scared of a family?
Hi, can I help you?
Zora, put your shoes on.
If you want to get crazy, we can get crazy.
What are you people?
It's us.
They look exactly like us. They think like us. They know where we are. We need to move and keep moving. They won't stop until they kill us. Or we kill them.
Be careful.
Welcome back, Lucent Truth viewers, and today we're going to be reviewing the movie Us, and we're joined with, of course, Uncle David, Brian McMurray, Orlando King, and our special guest, Travis Pearson. He is the ultimate movie director, director of photography. He did that film America Street, and he's working on a new film called, or no, you're the director of photography.
Yeah, DP.
On the film for Still Harlem. And check it out. It should be amazing. And Travis, did you want to say anything too?
That's right. You can catch it on Amazon, right? Yeah, well, it's right now. We're doing with the film festival. It's going to be at the Charlotte Film Festival this month. It's going to be in the Kansas City Film Festival. It was just in the Pan African Film Festival last month. So, which we were going against Nate Parker because he did a film short too.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So we're trying. Hopefully, people like it. We're trying to push it as a series called Still Harlem. We shot it at the historical Paul Lawrence Dunbar building where Du Bois and all of them, the Harlem Renaissance used to live.
Yeah.
So hopefully, people will appreciate it.
Yeah. Awesome. Check it out. So, as usual, we're going to begin with the plot and story for Us.
That's right.
Yes, for Us. And
Spoilers.
We'll begin with Uncle David.
They always begin with me.
Well, hold up. We can't just begin. How do we know this is really Uncle David?
Oh, pinch me and see
How do
I
we know?
got.
We don't have a red suit on and the jumpsuit.
And anyone can jump in. I just wanted to start with somebody. So, what did you think of the overall plot and story?
Well, when you talk about the overall plot of this story, I have to say it's absolutely amazing. You know you got a good plot and story when you're working and you're watching the film and it's like, okay, I still don't quite understand a couple of things, and they can wrap it back up at the end. And if I'm not mistaken, did anybody look up the 11:11 from the Bible?
I think John did. John did last night, but
It's like
It's Exodus, right?
it's like I thought it was Jeremiah.
Jeremiah,
Stuff
right?
like that.
Yes, sure.
Jeremiah, yeah. It's Jeremiah 11:11.
Jeremiah. Well, when I saw the 11:11, the first thing I thought was, okay, you got 11 on this side, and then you got a separator, a colon, and you have an 11 on this side. Right.
Gemini.
It's Gemini. It's twins. It's 1 1, 1 1, or 11 11, and it really
the whole theme
sinks in with the theme of the movie. You know, so everything right down to the end. I don't want to drop any spoilers, but we'll probably drop some for you guys.
This is not a spoiler-free podcast, so if you don't want spoilers, don't watch.
But yeah, they were able to wrap it up and really finish it where it seemed like it was going to get long, and then I saw the end and I was, oh, I'm glad I waited. You know what I'm saying? So excellent film.
You guys want to jump in as far as the plot and story?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much the same that Uncle Dave was saying and stuff like that. I mean, like, I love how everything was wrapped up. I love how, you know, it wasn't just with that family. You know, they also went on to their friends as well too.
And I think they, as a plot device, he almost had to do that. Because I was thinking the whole time, why are the cops coming?
Yeah.
Because everything, the world was in there.
Exactly. And it goes right back to how Uncle Dave was talking about 111 stuff like that, like from the Bible and stuff. You know, I'm saying, like, you know, I guess using like a reference of, like, you know, you can't even call out for your technology to save you and stuff, but you're worshiping that and stuff like that. You know, so just throwing back things and stuff like that. You know, like you said, everything tied in. So well crafted though, man. So
yeah. Well, I thought the film was it was done very well done in the way of the way that the plot devices that he used. Also, the cinematography was great. I saw where he was going with the exposition of the story, of how he wanted to use the end as the beginning, and used as pretty much to me, I felt like it was two stories and one going on. Yeah, that's all I want to say right now, but we can go a little bit further on that.
Well, expound on that, because what do you mean by two stories? Like, as far as...
It's like when you said that, I was kind of thinking the same thing. To me, I feel like both movies, Us and say Get Out, is like a connection.
Yeah.
Because it's like, in this one, it's like, I feel like this is like one of the first experiments. And it felt like it looked like it didn't work, so you just abandoned it. Whereas in Get Out, this experiment, it was working, it actually was working. So it's like, I just like how that ties in, and I'm thinking this happened back in the 80s or something like that, and also I was like, okay, so I mean, it's just...
Okay, alright, yeah. See, what's funny is, like, for me watching, and it was something you said earlier before we started filming, Travis, that the movie has many layers, and I feel I need to watch it again, because there's some things I didn't catch about
the... go again with y'all, man.
Yeah, I know,
I had to finish up some stuff, I was like,
about the son. So for me, like, when it comes to plot, I think is brilliant, because the way the events played out, the way the scenes and the shots were put together, there's so many layers to it that I need this. I can watch it multiple times, right? The story for me, I'm sure is there. My problem right now is I just don't know enough.
Yeah.
But that's intriguing to me, so that's why I don't see that as a fault. Like, why things are happening. It's interesting you guys said it might be a connection with Get Out, because I didn't see that. So it's interesting you guys said that, you know. But so for me, story, like, I want to go back and watch it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because there's clearly some things that I missed.
Yeah.
You know,
just certain
I don't think you get it all in one watch.
No.
Yeah, because
and that's just the brilliant thing about it, man. You know, a lot of times, you know, some people they don't want to be told everything what's going on. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, the really investigative ones say, okay, let's go back and look at this thing and all that.
It was
funny.
funny.
To go do some research.
It was funny you say that too, because I think that's one of the problems with modern day movies, especially modern day big budget movies. It's like, yeah, one of the things I really hate is when they have that exposition scene in the beginning where they tell you like a little bit of a backstory and then the movie starts. That's so annoying. Like, everybody does it. Sometimes you can do it, sometimes it works, but everybody does it now because people have become so dumbed down now and so addicted to social media. They can't just sit down and watch something as a piece of art and truly embrace what it is and try to understand the different layers to it. That's why the movie is so good.
And figure stuff out.
Exactly.
Or come up with your own opinion, even if it's wrong.
Yeah.
Even if it's wrong.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, anything else want to add to the plot and story?
No. I just thought it was. I thought it was crafted really well. I just like the. It could have been. It was a nice balance. It could have been where. The thing when I first heard about the film, a lot of people didn't like it because it wasn't scary enough or it was not enough horror and stuff like that. I don't like movies where people become meat. You know, that you just cut up, you know, like Saw movies and stuff like that.
Torture porn.
Yeah,
call it.
yeah. I just like the way it was. The pacing of it was really well done. You know, like I mentioned earlier, that before we started filming, the influences. Like I said, it reminded me of a Dario Argento film. The way it was shot was theatrical. Really, the use of lighting was great.
Oh yeah.
Especially on black people, because that's it's difficult. You know, for anybody that does any photography, and I shoot as well, it's hard to get a good shot of a black person and get the brown, not just there's a shadow with light and teeth.
Listen, back when I used to shoot in film, Kodak film is not for our hue, for black folks. I always shot in Fuji.
Yeah.
I would always get 60mm Fuji film because it was a more warmer palette than a cold Kodak. I used to hate it with our skin tone. It just gave it a blue cast. It was just hard, you know. But now that we have the new technology, you know, a lot of people are shooting with the Arri Mini and the Mini Alexa and stuff like that. That the color science on that camera is really good with that palette, with our skin hue. So yeah,
it's interesting you say that because I read an article a few months ago talking about how when photography first started being developed. And they started doing the different types of films, they would use the secretaries that worked in these places as the base models for it, and all of them were white. You know what I'm saying? So there was intrinsic racism built into the technology. Yeah. Maybe not intentionally. But because of the system that we lived in or whatever, and it wasn't until I think like the 80s, dude. Yeah. Where they started recognizing that. You know what I'm saying? So that's interesting you say that.
Yeah, the film stock started changing, especially Kodak started coming with their, I can't think of the name of the film stock they had. I can't think of the name, but they had different film stocks around, you know, late 70s and 80s, where they started to try to broaden their, the amount of light and the amount of, well, with film, you know, you have unlimited amount of, you have color range with stops because there's thousands of lines of resolution. Real quick, I'll just drop this. You can edit it later. But 4K, you know, videos is supposed to try to mimic film. There's 4,000 lines of resolution. When you're shooting on celluloid, it's thousands of lines of resolution. So you can shoot in low lighting with film. Yeah. Versus, you know, now that you got 4 or 6 8K cameras and stuff like that. It's all about, you know, the dynamic stops. How much little light that you need to shoot this. If I can shoot it with candlelight. Is what they're trying to do, but yeah, but without losing detail. Not just detail, but as well as stuff's becoming real grainy and stuff like that. But the film stock on that is really changed. But the thing I love about this film is the colors, the placement that he used on it. Like I said. If you're familiar with Dario Argento's films,
he did like Suspiria.
Yeah, he did that. Yeah. He did that film. Not the new one, the new version.
Yeah, not the new one.
Yeah,
the older version.
But you would see the influence, and I can see the Hitchcock in what he does with it too.
I even saw Twilight Zone.
Oh,
I got like a Twilight Zone feel from it.
Yeah.
But I also a Hitchcock, definitely Hitchcock.
Yeah, the writing in it is
in fact, isn't he producing the new Twilight Zone series?
Yes, he is.
That's right. Yeah.
He is.
Yeah.
And the old black and white, the guy who wrote, what's his name?
Black and white.
The Twilight Zone.
Oh, Rod Serling.
Rod Serling.
Yeah.
Phenomenal writer. So I can see the writing styles. Yeah. And you can see the influence on that also.
I got a question for you guys. Like at the end, when the little boy was looking at his mother and while they were in the car escaping, it looked like there was like a symbol carved in her face. Did y'all notice that? It was like an X and like almost like a was.
I'm turning around trying to see it if it's on that.
Yeah, I don't know if it's on the trailer or not, but I was trying to. When I saw it, it really stood out to me. And I was trying to figure out what it was, and maybe what it meant. Maybe it was just random, and maybe it's just where she got sliced, and maybe there was no symbol. Maybe I'm just seeing things.
They were fighting.
Yeah. But I just thought that was weird. I couldn't figure out what was going on with that. So I guess no one really.
No, I didn't notice that one. The few foreshadowings of that something's off. You know, of course, with, you know, I mentioned earlier about the snapping being off beat.
Yeah.
Another thing was,
which is a really good point. Let's illustrate that real quick, because I was like, when Lupita was saying get on beat, and I was like, okay, you're not on beat. And then go ahead and say what you told me, because I didn't get that. But he was like, he totally explained it. I was like,
no, I was just saying that she was off. You know, she was off beat when she couldn't catch the rhythm. It's the same as his son, where you were talking about. Maybe the son was switched too, because he couldn't catch the beat too, because they were, you know, they were off sync with what was going on. Another thing, further in the story, when the Lupita was trying to hit her with the club.
Yeah, she couldn't,
because she was the echo of her.
She was the echo,
instead of being the original.
Exactly.
I mean, and that was because I was like, oh, you know, I was like, why can't she hit her?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh. At the end, I said, oh, that's the reason why.
That was a great scene. That was beautifully shot.
Yeah.
Like she was doing the ballerina thing, slicing her. I was like, man, that was dope.
Into with the music going.
Yeah, oh man, that was so good. That was so good.
It's like with that foreshadow, just like even when in the closet, you ever notice like those amp lamps, and like it will hold it open so you be able to get out.
Yeah.
At the end of the movie, those that were in the amp lamps leaving out to leave.
I know you're right. I didn't think about that.
There's a lot of little things, man. That's why I just want to go back. Like, man, I want to go back and watch it.
Yeah, I gotta watch it.
Dude, you gotta go back and probably watch it. Get out, take some notes, and then go watch this and compare.
Yeah.
Whatever, they really did it. They really did it.
Remember the one scene where and that was the other thing. A lot of, like, I was talking to John, my brother, who didn't like it. Shame on you, John. This is a great movie. Shame. But there was that one scene where the clones were well, I guess some of them were clones, but when they get to the house and they sit down and she starts talking and she's in that voice like, what's up on a top? I love that. I thought that was great. John hated it, but I thought it was great.
Yeah, I did too.
It showed me, okay, at least Lupita, because you know I've been very critical of her acting. You know what I'm saying? Look, I have to say,
John still thinks otherwise.
Yeah, you know that you showed me a new side in this. Like, you know, I have to give you some props. But anyway, she was talking about why they were made, and what was the original reason? They found out that they could use them as a way to control people above. But what was it? I guess they were just experimenting on making clones. Right?
I thought that was it.
No. They found out that, I thought maybe they were just doing clone research, and then they found out that the clones were useless because they didn't have souls.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? But they didn't realize that they were tethered to the people who they were clones of from above, and they used that as a way to control people.
Just like
you know what I'm saying?
You know how they was trying to find ways to, you know, I guess, like
immortality.
And stuff like that. And they see, well, okay, this will fail experiment, so this didn't work. So as you see,
she did say it failed too.
Yeah, it failed.
So I guess they use it in another. And it makes a little bit of exposition that you have in the beginning of the movie where it talks about the tunnels. And how there's all these tunnels and some of them don't even know what they're there for. That's and that's what he was alluding to, was okay, this was happening. You know, which is far-fetched but interesting.
Yes. That's why I was like, oh, that's why I was like, man, let me go home. Sorry, because I remember.
But it symbolizes something. I just don't know what it is yet. Yeah.
Just like with the Hands Across America thing. I said, I remember seeing that when I was little. But, you know, I don't know that time. You know?
Did y'all recognize the movies that were around the TV? I saw some. One was The Right Stuff. One was I think was Coming to America. I think it was an Eddie Murphy movie. I can't remember. I know one was The Right Stuff for sure. There was one that I recognized was a 80s movie that I loved. I thought it might have been Coming to America.
I saw Jaws. But you know,
Jaws was on the shirt. Yeah.
I saw Goonies.
Goonies. That's what it was. Goonies. That's what it was. Yeah, it wasn't Coming to America. Goonies. That's what it was.
It was. Yeah. I mean, I love anything 80s reference.
I like that too, man. Take me back.
Yeah, a lot of people, you know, I've been like a lot of film theory, and a lot of people used to hate on 80s movies and stuff. I'm like, that was a great decade.
A lot of stuff was groundbreaking.
John Carpenter's movie catalog from that era by itself, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You know, he kind of like went downhill in the 90s, and I don't think he makes movies anymore. I think he helps out or whatnot. I think he does some musical scores because I didn't know. For a long time, I didn't know that he scored a lot of his own movies. Those piano sequences that he had, he did that. But his movie catalog from the 80s by itself, in my opinion, is great stuff.
Like, you know, that's the evil right there. Just like in Halloween, when you see it, you know that's not
exactly.
That's not you, and you're sitting there. You know.
No, dude. Like, I love Halloween because of the way it's shot. But one of my favorite movies from John Carpenter. This is a little off subject, but from John Carpenter, or two of my favorite movies. One, Prince of Darkness, that doesn't get a lot of shine, but the other one is dang, what's the name of it? The one with the aliens. They take over. You gotta wear the glasses.
Oh,
They Live. Yeah.
What's the name of it?
That is my favorite John.
Great movie. Great movie. Yeah.
Wrestler in it, something.
Yeah.
Roddy Piper.
But back to us. Does anybody have anything else to say about the plot and story?
No.
Travis?
No, I mean, the only other thing I would say, it was something else. I was thinking, I was trying to hold on before we started shooting.
Was it a particular character?
No. Not the family, but the white family. Because the thing that I was asking myself, I was saying, wow, man, she took, they just came, their doppelgangers just came and just wiped them out. They didn't give no time. They didn't sit down or talk or anything.
Exactly.
But after watching the film, I understand that they had a relationship. And when she was swapped, so she was, trying to milk this moment.
Exactly.
And I said, oh, okay, that made sense to me. At the time, I was like,
she just basically like got too over cocky.
Because I was like, the other family would just got wiped out.
She wanted,
So in some sense, it was a revenge story.
Yeah.
And it's like, at the end, I didn't. At the end of the movie, when they do the reveal scene and you know that she's actually the clone. For some reason, I still felt happy for her. You know what I'm saying?
But see, that's the twist to make the audience get their emotion into it. Be like, okay, but at the same time, it's like, you know what I'm saying? That's just the interesting part.
Well, it's because the real one had become such
attached to it.
Well, deformed monster. It was hard to, you know what I'm saying? I felt sorry for her, yes, but it was almost like they weren't human anymore. You know what I'm saying? So it was hard for me to like, oh man, it sucks, or whatever. But it was almost like I was kind of happy that she was kind of put out of her misery. You see what I'm saying? Like I felt happy for the clone that she got away because it was like
I was saying earlier that I had that unnerved feeling about it. That the thing that was so unnerving about it, and when the final reveal that she was swapped, is the same feeling I got when I was young when I saw Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and I was so afraid to go to sleep that night because I didn't have a cot under my bed because I was like, wow, they can swap me,
Exactly.
That's the reason why I had that unnerving feeling because it brought back that feeling when I first saw that film. But no, I didn't feel. I felt like this. I felt like, oh man, she was swapped the whole time. That's not cool.
Yeah. I thought that, but for them escaping. Even though I don't think there's any real escape because you saw that they were holding hands all throughout the mountains and stuff. So I don't know where they're gonna go.
Yeah, that's like, what's the next thing you're gonna do?
Exactly.
They just holding hands. I mean, what's the next? But
I
think they're trying to take over, and kill all their doubles and whatnot.
Exactly. Yeah. On their mind, they're saying,
waiting for the end to come or something. Someone's supposed to be coming or something like that.
Was it?
It was something like that.
Plus, they said they wanted to feed the world because all they got to eat was rabbits. So maybe watching the TV thing, through the originals, okay, this is how we're going to feed the world. We have to join hands throughout America, and maybe we don't eat rabbit anymore.
That's what you're saying.
Because she complained about the food as well. So maybe that's
good.
They definitely got it from the TV. That's obvious. The red, the holding hands.
Yeah, because she became kind of like a messiah type figure down below, but she would probably tell.
They saw that she was different.
Yeah, and she watched, and it began with her watching that on TV.
Yeah.
So that's what she remembers when she was a kid.
Sure.
Yeah. So when she's down there, that's what she's telling people, and then it emboldens people.
It's crazy too, because remember, like her dad had the Michael Jackson Thriller shirt, and then like how you only have one glove.
Yeah, exactly. How they had. Yeah, that's
so
a good
it's
point.
like she kind of.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get that. Yeah, that's what you said. You know what's now I don't. Usually movies they're in production for a while, right? Now I know it's been accelerated now. I know it used to be take 5-6 years to make one. Now you can make one, maybe 2.
No, it doesn't take long.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I don't know if he made this movie before all the controversy came out about Michael Jackson.
Oh.
Because when I saw it, I was like, ooh, that's bold. But it's not really quite bold because he probably didn't realize that, that all that stuff
was already probably in the editing stage by the time Michael Jackson got in trouble.
Yeah.
If not ready to be released and just not marketed yet.
Yeah, and just something from that era during that time.
From that era, and Michael Jackson was beyond superstar back then. So so it would make.
You can't omit Michael out of the day.
They're trying to. Unfortunately, they're trying to. You know what I'm saying? So, but overall, man, I need to sit down and watch it. And there's a lot I missed.
Yeah.
There's a lot of symbolism that I missed. But overall, I really enjoyed it. I thought the plot and story were great. The story for me is still.
Unanswered questions, but it's
unanswered questions, but also for me, like I like to know why things are happening. But that's why I also like this movie. It's sort of like 2001: Space Odyssey is an experience. You know, you don't know exactly why certain things are happening. You know, like why is the monolith? What is the monolith? What is that? What is that? You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people have speculated that it was the idea is not that it was supposed to be this specific thing. It represents something, and it represents so a lot of people think that the black cube represents God, and it goes back to like Saturn worship and all stuff like that. But also, its straight edges aren't part of nature. So if you get something that's a part of nature that has intelligence and they see it, it sparks something in their intelligence.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
so a lot of people thought that's what maybe it represents.
Well, there's no sharp, for the most part, there's no sharp edges in nature.
Exactly.
So, and and Mecca is a black stone.
Black stone.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
black cube. In fact.
Yeah, black cube. Yeah. So, I mean, it could be that. I mean, I saw it as a reference of God.
God, exactly. Exactly.
But I don't know. But another thing, which I'm still trying to work out in my mind is, the young girl, because everyone had their thing. The young girl, the young sister, she was a runner, and I'm trying to find the symbolism for that. Why is, because this is the second time with the running theme.
Exactly.
From Get Out, so I'm trying to figure. I'm still working that out in my mind.
Escape, man. It's the subliminal message. Leave. Leave. Okay, that's that. That goes back. That is the meaning of this guy's movies.
Yeah.
Is look at what's happening, understand the madness, get out.
And if you look at what the young daughter, she was transfixed on her cell phone. You know what I'm saying? Throughout the entire movie, you know what I'm saying? She was, exactly, you know what I'm saying? Even when her mom told her good night, go to bed or whatever, she puts it over her head and you see the light come on or whatever. So it's like, so I don't quite know what it means yet either, but that's interesting you brought it up.
But just even like with the white couple, even when she was like 9, because you saw they had like the high tech everything. Yeah. She's in their house, and then they're the black family, they're something just normal wise, and they have all great stuff. My thing is this though, it's like this is supposed to be in the 80s, right?
No, this is modern times. Remember, she has a cell phone.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, the childhood.
Oh, okay, no, okay, yeah, I'm thinking about back then. Okay, yeah, because back with the family and stuff, right? It's like you saw like when the white family, when the mother was dying and stuff, and she was reaching out, and they was always on their technology and stuff like, and she reaches out, for her technology to help her, like Alexa, could call police and they say, oh, please, like that, and it was like, oh, dang, man, so there's a lot of that.
That was a great shot.
Yeah.
That's interesting though, because I didn't want to bring this up because it might get too much of a political debate, but you notice it was like the black guy, he was like fixed on having the same lifestyle
Oh yeah,
It's the white guy. It's the white family. Yeah,
the boat.
Yeah, it was almost like that's almost all he talked about.
But then they finally got the car. When they, when they had to get out and stuff like that.
Well, the world had ended by
But you still got to think, it tripped me out. Like they started doing the kill count and stuff. And I was like, oh man, come on, really? Y'all just need to go, man. Yeah.
Welcome back. We're going to move on to the acting, writing, and script since we already talked about cinematography in the previous segment. So, starting with Travis, what did you think of the overall acting?
Oh God! Did you see his face? I can't wait till we watch this. Don't cut that part out.
But overall, what did you think of the overall acting?
The acting was. I thought the acting was really good. Lupita's performance on it was really good. A lot stronger. I think she's really grown as an actress. Really comfortable in portraying and taking in, becoming the characters that she's wanting or that she's portraying. I just think I'm excited to see what she does next now from this because it's not easy to be able to portray two characters and to be believable and to keep that narrative thread throughout the whole story. People don't know how important it is and how hard it is to do that. I think what's the actor's name who played the father?
I just call him the dude from
well, the father,
what?
Black Panther.
Yeah. I think
he played M'Baku.
The father. I think playing to be his size and to be able to play down, and it's gonna be. I'm not going to say it.
Go ahead and say it, dude. Go ahead and say it.
No, I just think, I think it's a big shout out to, I love what they did with him wearing the Harvard shirt, wearing an HBC shirt, which is really good because we need to promote that, as well as his relationship with his kids, which was really good. We need to see more of that also. Just saying, the two kids, they were really good. They were really strong.
His name is Winston Duke.
Yeah, Winston Duke. I should have known that because it's a different name. I knew that it started with W.
Yeah, and he was good in Black Panther.
Yeah. I think.
Whereas I didn't think Lupita was that good. To be fair though, she didn't have a whole lot of screen time.
Yeah.
In Black Panther, and to y'all be fair, she didn't have a lot to work with. Okay, you're the love interest, and I guess you're kind of tough or whatever. But I agree. I think because I've been critical of her acting work before, even in Star Wars, where she plays she does some voiceovers for that one character, Maz Kanata. Yeah, she was basically the female Yoda, the Maz Kanata character, the yellow character with the gold goggles.
That's my first shame all year. But I'm doing good.
But even in that, I was like, whatever. But to be fair, I've never seen her in a leading role, and I have to agree. I think she pulled it off. I was convinced. I was utterly convinced by her in this movie. I also think Duke Winston did a really good job contrasting because she was kind of like the more sullen one. He was more of the comic relief. Yeah. So I thought their chemistry was actually I thought it balanced out. He was almost like the lovable giant. Yeah. Which I liked. Even though he did step up. He stepped up. He did step up and try to save his family. So even though you could argue maybe he made some dumb decisions. Yeah. But to be fair, no one is, when you're at home, you're not thinking that clones underground are going to come and take him. So he did what I think most people would do. He went and tried to face what was going out there, and figure out. And he also acted as the guy who tried to calm everybody down. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I thought it worked. I thought it worked really well. Even the kids I thought they did things too.
Because even but like you say, even with her acting, the lead, what's her name again? Lupita
Nyong'o.
Yeah, you could tell she really did her research and stuff. I read some things up on it too, like how she was saying just to get that speech, to be able to talk like that, she had to go for training, and just to have to be careful not to get once. Yeah, it's like
I love that part.
Yeah.
I thought that was great.
It's just
because it showed me like this is what would happen to someone who basically was abducted at a young age. who's been traumatized. You know what I'm saying?
In that environment.
Yeah, you know, they would have trouble speaking, and you know, it just, I thought it was great. I thought it was an awesome job.
I mean, I felt the same way, especially when she did the voice. For one, the character, Lupita, she doesn't have an American accent. So that's one level of performance that she's put on. Yeah, no, where's she from?
She was born in Mexico.
Was she?
Yeah.
I thought she was from like South Africa.
I think her people are from there.
Oh,
but I think she might have grew up over here. I could be wrong, but I think so.
Yeah, I think they're from Kenya.
But anyway, you know, for her to be able to get in and at least play two roles and display two different personalities, and you know, one has a tick and has been underground, the other one's the normal mother or whatever, you know, watching all the actors go through all the emotions and really give you a feeling that you know, when it's time to run, everybody's like, come on, get in. We saw it in the theater, man, and the whole theater was making noise, you know.
Getting into it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You know, if they can make you feel when it's time to be worried, to worry, and if they can make you feel like the time to relax, and they can make you laugh, they you know, they pulled it off, especially with the laughing, because it's unconscious type of reaction that you have to do. You know, they can do something cool, and
just like with the boat.
With the boat,
trying to get it started,
exactly.
It goes off and you fall. They're like, ah.
Right. They can act cool or whatever. They might maybe it looks, but if they can make you laugh, that means it's really funny.
Yeah. Fact check. Lupita was born March 1st, 1983 in Mexico City, Mexico, to Kenyan parents, Dorothy Ogada Buya and Peter Anyanga, whatever. Her father, a senator, was then a visiting lecturer in political science. She was raised in Kenya. At age 16, her parents sent her back to Mexico for 7 months to learn Spanish. Then she read film studies at Hampshire College, Massachusetts, and after working as a production assistant, blah, blah, blah. So it looks like she might have an accent. I mean, she grew up in Kenya. So, yeah. So I think Dan Winston is African too, right?
No, I'm not sure.
If I'm not mistaken.
They said a lot of the black people in the film, they're really not.
Dan Winston Duke.
African Americans playing a part. I mean, there is some backlash that's going on, I've heard, you know, from different podcasts and people are talking about it, because you have people who are not, you know, traditional African Americans like we are, playing roles as us or whatever, but it's still, you have to give people that can come in and do that. I will say this though, when you look at the way the film kind of unrolls and you look at it, it's not too natural what we would have as a life as an African American. You got a boat, even an old bad one. I don't have a boat with paddles, and I can afford it. It's just those kind of things.
To be fair though, and you brought this up when we weren't filming, you know, he's a Howard grad, so he's obviously probably more like in the middle class of black people, right?
Because he went to college.
No, what I'm saying is, it seems like, okay, they have a vacation home,
right?
So I'm thinking he's more of the middle class of black. Even how he acts, right. He doesn't act like,
I mean, that's obvious,
stereotypical, whatever.
The point I'm making,
but what I like though was they showed that, okay, even though he's the middle class for black people, look at what he was aspiring to.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Trying to get with his friend.
Exactly, what his white friend had. You know what I'm saying?
It just kind of got me though, because we've seen so much violence.
Where is Tobagonia?
Once I saw it was like a woman and 2 kids outside the house, and one man. It would have been the end of it. You know, somebody would have went out with the gun if they was normal African American. Nobody went out there with no bat. I've been out there like, you got one a shot.
But if you look though, you kind of proved my point when he went out there.
Yeah, the code switching that he did.
Yeah, exactly.
The code switching he did.
Exactly.
The film did touch on it.
That is right.
Yeah, because when he first went out there, he went out there like, hey,
how
you doing? Yeah. And then he's code switched.
Exactly.
But you know, the film is dealing with a little bit about classism. You know, from the underground to that. Exactly. You know, to their family. You know, it's dealing with classism, and you know, the people. You know, in the tunnels, feeling like these people above don't appreciate what they have.
That's right. Like that. Above ground people, we coming. So what's next? Did everybody give their thing on the acting?
He's from Tobago, that Winston Duke guy. I don't know where that is. It might be an island. Let's see. Tobago is, yeah, Trinidad.
Yeah.
Island of Trinidad. So yeah, he's not African, not a native African American.
Because I think my dentist is from Tobago.
Oh yes, yeah. Interesting. Very interesting. But you know, besides the politics, right? When I take that away, I have to give him credit.
Of course.
They did a great job.
Of course.
They did a great job.
Well done.
Yeah,
well done.
Just like you were saying.
And you do something else, I'll go watch it.
Yeah, too, you know. Even now with the kids and stuff.
Yeah.
So definitely shout out.
I also thought the white family did really well. There was one scene where the twins were like talking in sync. And at first I didn't know they were twins, and it wasn't until they did that. That was all.
Yeah, then I started looking into it.
They're twins, all right. You know, so I thought they did a good job overall. And the flips they were doing, that was frightening. That was frightening. Flips and stuff they were doing, they were just coming out of darkness, flipping.
Come out the closet, she turned around, bam.
That's crazy. It was crazy. It was crazy. It was overall though. I thought the script too. I thought it was well written. I liked a lot of the lines, even some of the exposition stuff.
Oh yeah, you like when they once upon a time.
Yeah, I thought that was.
I was talking with the.
She delivered it well.
No, with the white family, when the girl, the lady, his wife was like, "Go check outside. There's something. The generators. Come on." I'm like, okay. Everybody goes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's OJ.
Oh my God, man, that was just wrong. That was wrong, man. OJ ain't never gonna have peace. They gonna put OJ face on Mount Rushmore and be like, he did it.
Yeah. Or the part where he was like, "Give me my comfy zone."
Yeah. On vacation.
Yeah, but overall, I think when it comes to acting, the writing, the script, I think it's where I think Jordan Peele really excels, because he writes and directs his films, right? Yeah. So he really excels at that, I think.
And just to see that transition, not just doing comedy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
we have some great writer-directors, and Quentin Tarantino, even though I'm not a big fan of Quentin Tarantino, but he's a strong
I like Travis Pearson myself.
But I am looking forward. I'm looking forward to see what Jordan does next. I mean, and this film is grossing more than the first one. I mean, he's
one of the highest grossing horror films too.
Yeah, he's in the zeitgeist. I mean, he can't do no wrong.
And we've got to say, we have to say that there is so much in all the genres, especially Hollywood, where here comes the same old thing fucking again. Zombie outbreak.
Yeah.
Ghost in the house that you just moved into.
Possessed by a demon.
Right.
And that's why I didn't get Hereditary 4 stars. Because I was like, okay, even though the plot was really good, like, I'm getting so sick and tired of people being possessed by demons, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Whereas this right here, this was a fresh, I'd never seen anything quite like it before.
Never.
As far as the overall concept and the story, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, you know, for me, I think overall, that's where it kind of stands above some of the other horror movies that have come out.
There's nothing else out there like it.
Yeah.
Get Out either.
Yeah.
Get Out either, you know?
Yeah.
And because race is such a big thing for us in America, when you throw that race element in, it adds so much more dimension to the actual film. Because you always have to look at it when you have leading black actors and stuff like that, and then other white actors, are they gonna kill him? Oh no, okay, he's not gangster.
And I think it also speaks to a truth in this nation that I think a lot of white people are either afraid to address or just don't want to address. And that's what my major problem with Overlord was, because Overlord, you know, it was a good film. It was well done, but one of the main characters was a black soldier in World War II, but they didn't address race, and that was one of the fundamental flaws in that movie. If they would have addressed race in that movie, it would have been a classic, in my opinion. It would have been a classic, but they just didn't do it.
And it made all the black characters stick out in rows that if anybody knew anything about World War II, this is
Yeah.
It's you know, there's nothing wrong with fiction, but you still have to put some limitations on it. And
yeah, to make it realistic.
Yeah, there's like people beating on our windows.
Welcome back, and we're going to move on to the last segment, and we're going to give our final score for the movie. And as you know, we have a Lucent bulb system here. The most you can give in an average score or not an average score, the most you can give in a regular scoring is 5 bulbs. Now, if the movie is fantastic, just beyond the pale fantastic, you can give it a 6 cosmic bulb. But so far, we've only given one movie that rating. As you know, it was Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. But since we're back, John, the other co-host here, has come back, and so far there's pretty much been a consensus that this movie is good, perhaps great. John disagrees with this, and we're gonna let him have his say about this. And of course, you know there's about to be some explosions and some.
It's all right. It's all right. John, what you
fireworks here? So John, what do you?
Man, but what? So I want to get into. What, we're gonna do our rating first, or you just want to
just talk about? Okay.
Talk about what you
talk
think,
about the movie.
And then
Okay,
give your rating. Yeah.
First of all, this movie is nowhere near as good as Get Out. His first installment or his first movie. It's nowhere near as good because I give Get Out like a solid 4.5 or 5 Lucent bulbs. You know what I'm saying? That movie was good from beginning to end. There was never any point in that movie where I felt like, okay, you know, it's moving along, or, you know, like, okay, well, what's going on? And I don't care. Granted,
So you didn't
Get Out.
You didn't understand the movie?
Yeah, I understood it. I mean, and he has so many themes.
Why you say? You just said.
And he has so
what's
many
going on?
themes.
That means you didn't understand what the hell's going on.
No, I understood what's going on, but what I mean is just like, okay, I don't
Feel
care.
free to jump in.
You know what I mean? I just don't care. You know what I'm saying?
That's not what you said.
I just don't care. Because he has so much going on, where Get Out was a little bit more centralized. He has an overall theme or whatever, but it focused on a few characters versus this, you know, apocalypse.
That's not
You
true.
know,
This movie
it
only
is.
focused on one family. What are you talking about?
No, it didn't. The whole second part, I like to break the movie up in 3 parts. There was 3 major parts for me in the movie. It was the very first part where it just focused on the family. And this is how he advertised it in his trailer, where you thought that it was just only going to be just this family.
It was just the family.
No, it wasn't.
It just focused.
And then
The movie primarily
it
focused on the family.
It focused on the family, but there's also this huge apocalypse that's going on.
Who cares? That's a plot device. It has nothing to do with
does.
the overall tension that's going on with the family. It's a movie about a family.
Anyway,
just because something's happening in the background doesn't mean that's ultimately what the movie is about.
Yeah, it does. Because
no, it doesn't.
Yeah, because one of the major themes in this movie was poverty. That's the whole deal with the Hands Across America. That whole what is it?
Campaign or whatever they were trying to.
Yeah, the whole campaign, or what it was originally, was that's what they were fighting. That's what they were raising money for.
In the 80s?
Yeah. They were raising money for impoverished families or like homelessness and stuff like that. That's what it was about. So that was one of the main themes.
That was not the main theme. Maybe that been an underlying theme, but that was not the main theme.
See, to me, that was the problem. He had too many themes in it. He has so many things in it. You have that theme where he's focusing on poverty and homelessness. You have the theme
how can you
of
get
revenge,
poverty, and the homelessness out of them? I mean, I'm not saying that might not have been a theme. What I'm saying is the overall attention in the movie was given to a particular family. So how can you say that was the main theme? It's not the main theme.
That was the main theme. That was like one of the main parts. And I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure.
You're wrong. You are wrong.
Well, I mean, we don't know for sure. I mean, we would have to ask him what the main theme is. But he had it so much throughout his movie. I mean, yeah, it seemed like that would be the main thing.
What I'm saying is,
he even did that in the movie.
Exactly.
Where
the point I'm trying to make is, okay, he used that as a metaphor, right, for many different things. You see what I'm saying? And that's why I like this movie, because it has so many different layers to it. Yes, it could.
Yeah, but the whole movie is nothing but a big metaphor if you think about it.
So what's wrong with that?
What's wrong with it? He didn't do it well.
The
Matrix is a huge metaphor. whatever. But the problem is the message was done right. It was done well. It was done well done. This wasn't done well.
Anybody would like to rebut? Because
it just was.
Yeah, I just think that was her thing.
Who's thing? You talking about Red or
Red.
Adelaide or whatever, however you pronounce her name.
The real one. With the one that was
Red. Red was all about revenge.
Yeah.
That's the reason why they kept showing you that verse, Jeremiah chapter 11, verse 11, or whatever.
I'll come back.
Her thing was about revenge, so she was trying to bring death upon everybody because she felt the surface world forgot about it.
She was also Messiah though. And she took
the tether.
Yeah, she took what she remembered as a child and made them into symbols. You see what I'm saying? That other people gathered around. That's why I like the movie, because the symbols can mean many different things to many different people.
Right.
That's what's so good about it. I mean, they were just pointing out that they wore the one glove because she remembers the one glove that Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, look. Yeah, of course.
There's a whole bunch of other things,
many metaphors, but the primary focus was on the family. It didn't necessarily have anything to do with poverty. So I'm sorry that you're wrong on that.
No, I'm not wrong on that. That's why he kept putting it in there.
What?
It's about homelessness. It's about like they don't have what is it like the haves and the have-nots. That's kind of like what that's one of the main themes of the movie. That is part of it.
That's what I was mentioning earlier. It's about classism.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I agree. I agree with you on it. But the thing of it is, I disagree with the execution, and I think he did really well, because you always going to have the microcosm, which is the family, and then you're going to have the greater story, which is the community.
Exactly.
And the show both of those, I think just like Star Wars, and the stories about Luke and his family, and then there's a whole
outer universe, galaxy
war going on, or the Game of Thrones, same. You got a family, and you got this greater war with the White Walkers.
Exactly. And they parallel each other.
Yeah, that's in all stories, and the whole thing about all stories. Right now everything is based on the Roman plays from the 3 acts. You got the first, second, and third act, which you can have many acts, but we base it off of that because of, from what they did from their plays. My question I ask you, what do you think was? When you said there's just too many themes going on, you felt like it was overwhelming. It clouded the main story.
I personally think they had so much stuff going on, and it ended up being a mess, and nothing became finite, or you never did get a real good answer or anything.
Why do you have to have a final answer on everything? That's what makes the movie good. You just said it never became finite. You just said that.
Yeah, on something. Yeah, there has to be some type of finality to something.
It was finite. He showed you what happened at the end.
Yeah, it was kind of left just vague. Everything was just left in vague.
How so? How?
And that's another thing. That's the reason why I said I would rather it be a supernatural film, because the supernatural film you don't have to explain. You don't have to explain everything. It doesn't have to make sense. I'm sorry. If a movie is based in realism or whatever, which this is, like, okay, The Matrix is like, okay, that's a whole different genre, right? So you don't have to necessarily explain everything. Or The Ring, you don't have to necessarily explain everything. But if you're going to base something in here, and maybe this is the key, my dad coming out on me, but you can't say, okay, well, the government created this, and then give me no backstory about why this stuff was created, how they created it. He gave you this little line in the beginning of the movie. He gave me this line. Maybe I am, but I'm sorry, it affects my viewing, because if you're gonna base it in a real life tone or whatever, okay, you giving me this little line at the beginning of the movie, you're saying that there's thousands of lines. It doesn't make any sense to me. Okay, why? Because the tether are down there, they're eating what? Rabbits? No, that doesn't make any sense. Like your body is not going to grow the same as as the real person. They will look completely different. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, okay.
And there's so much stuff that it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and that's all the big things, man. It's because they sold the tether.
Well, he's talking
because they what?
He's talking about the narrative thread. He felt like it crossed the line. You ever seen a movie called Funny Games? You never seen Funny Games? The whole movie's about these two guys. No, it's about a family, pretty much like us. Family going to the vacation home near the lake. All right, they're unpacking their stuff. They had 2 little kids. They have a boy and a girl. there's a knock at the door. There's two guys. They were saying, "Hey, I'm sorry to interrupt y'all. We stay in the house right next to you. We're wondering if we can borrow 4 eggs." And then the lady would say, "Oh, sure, not a problem." He said, "We forgot to go," and so they gave him the 4 eggs. He said, "I really appreciate you." Two guys leave. They close the door. She goes back to the kitchen to unpack. There's another knock at the door. It's the same two guys. They said, "I am so sorry. We dropped the 4 eggs. Is there any way that we can borrow 4 more eggs?" She said, "Yeah, no problem." So she gives them the 4 eggs. They leave. They come back. There's another knock. He said, "Your dog jumped on me. I dropped the 4 eggs. Is there any way that we can get it?" She said, "I'm sorry, but I can give you that. I only have 4 left. I need it for my family." And they said, "Why are you acting like a bitch? Why don't you give me the 4 eggs?" So they knock her out, and they handcuff the family pretty much like in us. And they torment the family, all right? And then they tell the family, he said, "By tomorrow, this time tomorrow, all y'all are going to be dead." And then they were like, "What the hell?" So it's one part in the movie where they tie up the father. He gets loose, okay? So he grabs the gun from him and kills the guy. Kills one of the guys. The other guy freaks out, grabs the remote, the TV remotes, rewinds the movie we're watching, the audience. So the movie goes back. We're like, what the hell? And then he presses play. And then when the guy gets on loose and grabs, he said, He was like, what the hell am I watching? Did I just rewind the whole movie that I'm watching?
Breaking that third dimension.
You understand?
Yeah, the fourth wall.
Yeah, exactly. So I understand what you're saying, but I think he executed it really well in the sense where it is based in reality, but you can cross that line every once in a while. But it's up to the viewer.
You know what's
it's all
funny
up
though?
to the
Because when I was doing
how much you can sustain.
and not only that, but because I researched it, because I was just like, okay, if it's not supernatural and you're gonna make
See how he keeps going back to that, right?
Why?
See how he keeps going back to that.
What?
Intrinsic bias. He came into the movie with a preconceived notion. It didn't live up to that preconceived notion. So now he's using a biased point of view to rate the movie.
Just because I don't like the movie, bro, doesn't mean I'm biased.
Movie's
Just
good.
because I don't like it. Just mean I don't like it. So you can say whatever you want, but look,
Judge
objectively. I am judging it objectively.
No, you're not.
Yeah, I am.
No.
Yeah, I am. I mean, I'm giving you the reasons. You don't like the reasons, but that's fine.
Your reasons are terrible.
They're not terrible. They're not terrible. For me, they're legitimate reasons. And the reason why it would make more sense if it was supernatural is because, oh no, let me get back to my original point. The original point was I looked it up because I wanted to see how big the budget was. And they were just like, yeah, they couldn't fully visualize how they wanted where the tether stayed at because they only had, I think, a $30 million budget. So they couldn't go deep into it. And see, to me, that makes more sense because that part, it just there wasn't enough there. It wasn't enough there to make it believable. Okay. I'm not saying that it has to be science, but it has to be somewhat believable. Don't get me wrong. I think my dad sometimes takes it a little too far, but sometimes I kind of agree. Like, there has to be some type of believability about it to where I'm like, okay, yes, I can get with that. I can grasp with that, and then now we can move on.
See,
but they only show you this one scene, and not only that, I mean, there's kids. Like, what? So she's the only kid who found this secret stairs. Like, come on, man. Kids run around find places all the time. Is she the only one who found this thing?
See, I disagree.
I'm sorry. There has to be some type of believability to it. And to me, that's not believable. That this is the only kid in the 80s who found this one pathway down to where all these tethered people are at. Right. We don't know where all the other kids at who found it? Where are the people that, you know what I'm saying? Because I looked that up too. And he already said, no, that's not, he's not one of them. He's not a tethered. He's just a regular, he is the son of the actual tether Adali who.
Here's the thing. So here's why I disagree with you, because I even said in our previous segments that, okay, look, when I talked about the story and the plot and the clones and everything and why they were created or whatnot, I was like, okay, it seems a bit far-fetched. But while I was watching the movie, okay, I was like, okay, that's the fantasy part that I'm going to give you. I'm going to give you that. The rest of the movie is going to have to really be good for me to accept that. You know what I'm saying? I saw it really more as a metaphor. Not that, okay, all right, yes, it's actually realistic for them to have these clones in these tunnels and they come and they're gonna kill you. No, this is art. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was a bunch of artsy fartsy.
For me,
I see that, but it wasn't enough for me. It just wasn't.
For me, I don't even think it was artsy fartsy. To me, artsy fartsy is when you just have random colors and random just scenes, and there's no consistency to it at all. That's artsy fartsy. Okay, you just being artsy fartsy for the sake of being artsy fartsy. There was message in this movie. There was themes. It was well executed. There's no reason to say that this is a bad movie unless you're going in with a preconceived notion or you have some kind of intrinsic bias, which you have. But let me finish what I'm saying. But overall, when it comes to the clones, I do kind of agree that I think that's probably the explanation for that is probably one of
the weakest part of the entire movie, and it's supposed to be the strongest part because that's the big.
See, I disagree. I disagree with that. If you're going into the movie for gimmicks, for this is this new concept that no one's ever done before or something like that, then yeah, you're probably not going to like it. But that's not what the movie is about. The movie isn't about the science part of it or them creating clones. You know what I'm saying? That's not what he was trying to establish.
I know he was trying to make a huge movie that was just a huge metaphor. I don't think it was even a huge movie. Like you said, it was only $30 million budget. No, what I mean, he's trying to make this whole movie almost a singular or multiple metaphorical movie, like The Matrix. The only problem is The Matrix was done well. This wasn't.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I like the first Matrix, but I guess I wouldn't even compare the two. One's like a
they're very comparable, except that one's action and one's based in action science fiction, and one is based on a thriller. I'm going to consider this horror because there's nothing in the movie.
No, this would be considered horror. This would be considered horror.
No, yeah, I know it's considered horror. I wouldn't consider it horror because it ain't really nothing.
Because he wants jump scares. You see what I'm saying?
No, I don't care about the jump scares. I didn't have that. Yeah. That was like the first thing. I was just like, there's nothing about this movie that feels creepy to me. You know what I'm saying? The best scenes I thought that were creepy was the beginning. Was the girl, how she was walking through the mirror. Everything else, and that's another thing too. Like that scene when the family first gets there and they all come into the house and how they get into the house. I was laughing because I was like, this is so ridiculous. I was like, this is ridiculous.
What did you find ridiculous about it?
Just how the whole thing was directed and how they got in there. You know, when he was holding the door, he hits him in the knee. He's like crawling away.
Oh, I love that.
And then they're all like standing there looking at him, and they're like, "Oh, this is us." And she's like, "Well, telling yourself to the." I was just like, and then that's another thing because I really just did not like her acting in the movie. Oh, you know what I'm saying? I just didn't like it. I didn't like it. I'm sorry. Everyone's giving her all this praise and all this credit. She deserves praise. She ain't that good. I'm sorry. She ain't that good. Okay, I grew up watching Denzel. I know what good acting is. And she's not good acting.
Do you see what I'm saying?
How you mean do you see what I'm saying? I don't think that she's that good.
Oh yeah.
She's not that good. I'm sorry. She's just not. Especially black people, because they're like, oh man, we starting to get these $20-30 million movies now, man. I'm still gonna call a spade a spade. If you can't act, you can't act. If she can't act,
look, I'm not saying.
So I mean, she ain't that great.
I was not
right, and I know how to stay in my lane too.
I'm not sorry, man.
She's not that impressive.
I'm not saying that she deserves some kind of Oscar for her performance.
Well, the way some of these people are acting, like, oh my god, like this is the best performance.
Well, I don't go by off of what other people are saying, because if I went by off of what other people are saying, I would hate this movie, because I respect your opinion on a lot of movies, John, and I respect someone like Antonio Moore who also belied this movie or whatever. But so I went in with thinking, okay, man, my brother, whom I respect and who I actually respect his opinion on many different films, did not like this movie. There might be something in here that I'm going to see that's very weak. I did not see that. I think you went in with a preconceived notion, and it has.
Right, and you go into about every movie with preconceived notions. It's impossible to go into a movie with preconceived notions.
But I don't care. Us go in like Eternals. I don't care. And watch the movie.
I don't care if the movie doesn't do what I wanted to do or what I even expected to do or whatever. I am judging the movie by what it is. And what I'm saying is, it didn't give me a supernatural. It gave me a more realistic. And okay, if I'm going to look at that type of movie, there's certain things I want from that type of movie to satisfy me.
I don't think it's,
and I didn't get it.
Well, that's a good question. So, what type of movie in that genre that you would consider good, that you liked a lot?
What's that?
Oh, what? And a horror or thriller? in that genre.
Hitchcock.
Could you say? I mean, could you basing it off of a matrix that you have in your mind, in your heart, that you know it didn't meet this? The film didn't come up to muster with. So what do you consider? What horror or thriller that you enjoyed a lot that you would consider?
This is a good point, because think about it like this. Robots take over the world and use people as batteries. How fucking far-fetched is that?
What,
do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's like you can do that with almost any fantasy in science fiction.
Hold on for a second, no.
Anyway, no. Answer this question.
Well, I can't really think of one right now.
Yeah,
but I mean, what? I'm not biased. I'm not biased. I can't really. I mean, there's so many movies that I can't remember all right now. Especially when it comes to a thriller, I just can't do it. But that's not the point. But even with The Matrix, yeah, it does seem far-fetched. But they gave you some type of like, okay, how could this actually possibly? They gave you some signs to be like, okay, I can see how I might believe it. Obviously, it's not real. But they gave you like, okay, hey, the body produces a certain amount of BTU heat. You know what I'm saying? They created this thing, you know, because this is far in the future. They created this thing, how they harness. I'm sorry, there's some type of believability about that. There was nothing believable about these.
In fact, when I watched the Matrix movie, right, that's the part where, like, in the back of my head, I'm like, okay, this is bullshit. But what's interesting is how they told the story. When you see Neo wake up for the first time in the real world, it's like, whoa! You know what I'm saying? I even did a Keanu Reeves whoa right there. You know what I'm saying? It was about that. It's how it's told. It's not necessarily the fantasy part of it that's just unrealistic that you have to suspend your disbelief for. And I think
you had to just you had to do that a lot in this movie.
I think you got to do that more in The Matrix than you have to do in this movie. You see what I'm saying? Because they were working on cloning like back since like the 70s. You know what I'm saying? So there was some actual things grounded in reality that they base it off of. And I'm not saying obviously it's far-fetched. You know what I'm saying? Obviously it's far-fetched, but I don't think that's what the movie is about. I think the hang up on that, I think, is what's kind of tainting the rest of your view on the movie. But whatever, you know, just getting long-winded, and you're obviously wrong. So just give us your just give us your final rating, so we'll move on to everybody.
It's a 2.
What? You giving this a 2, John?
A 2.
Shame.
I'm sorry, it's a 2.
Wow.
It's a 2. It's not as good as Get Out. I don't even think it comes close as good as Get Out. And I know last night you were saying, well, the cinematography or whatever. Okay, well, there was some good cinematography. There was some good shots. There were some good things in Aquaman too, but the movie was still garbage. So you have to give me more than just the artsy-fartsy stuff for me to give you, especially something as high as 4.5. I don't think it's that good. Sorry.
I'm gonna have to go ahead and say that you should be ashamed of yourself for comparing this movie to that utter garbage that is Aquaman. You should be like really ashamed of yourself.
No, I'm not.
Because this is like light years better than Aquaman, okay? But I'm not even gonna belabor that point. I'm just gonna go ahead and give my Lucent Ball rating. And I was thinking about this last night. Because originally I did tell him, I was like, I want to give it a 4.5. And I'm trying to think of reasons why I shouldn't give it just the full 5 bulbs. And I honestly can't think of one. When it comes to the plot and the story, I think it's sound. The cinematography was great. I mean, he did a lot with so little, like, and I don't mean like he didn't have a lot to work with. What I mean is he created a lot of emotions with lighting and costumes and stuff like that, that he didn't have to have all these special effects and all in this $100 million budget like Aquaman had to have. You know what I'm saying? And he was still able to create a very compelling movie. When it comes to acting, writing, and script, I think it was very well done. When it comes to musical score, that's my favorite part of the movie. It's amazing. So I'm trying to think of reasons why I shouldn't give it a 5, and I can't really think of one. So I'm gonna have to give it a 5. I think it's a 5. I really do. I think, matter of fact, I actually like this movie a little bit better than Get Out. Whoa. And I love Get Out. Now, I'm not saying it's way better than Get Out, but I actually like this one better. It spoke to me a little bit more, and I think it has more layers to it. And Get Out was good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that it's way better or anything. And we started doing this after Get Out came out, so we never did a review on it. I probably give Get Out a 5 too. But overall, man, I think this is a really good movie. I think it's Very well done. Jordan Peele is a true talent. I really respect what he's doing. And I'm sorry, I totally disagree with you, John. I think you're wrong on this one. I think it's a 5. Linda?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with you on that, Brian, too. I'll go with 5. Yeah, just so a lot of the thing I like about it is a lot of unanswered questions, but at the same time, it makes you go and do your homework. And it's not. I feel like it is well crafted, where it is answers. Because I'm like even going back, I'm seeing certain things that I missed. Yeah. Stuff. So I mean, it's a 5. Yeah.
Oh, I have to concur. I give it a 5. I would give it a 5, and the reason why I would give it a 5 is because he is creating a whole new lane in the cinematic language. As a student of film, I've seen a lot of different filmmakers and understanding that it's a hard thing to convey information and have an emotional connection. You know, sometimes it's a hit and miss. In your case, you felt like the messaging, the information was convoluted, so the messaging was not able to get to the part in yourself that you would care for. The reason why I asked what film do you, because it's whatever lens you're going to look at this film for, look at it for what it is. What are you going to look at it as? You have to have a barometer. Whatever, like if I'm going to look at a film, I'm going to look at it for what it is. Like when I mentioned earlier, I didn't understand what the hell was going on in Mother. But I still saw the film. I was a big fan of Darren Aronofsky, and I understand most of his, not most, but all of his films deal with religion. His first film was dealing with the Kabbalah, and then he was dealing with Christianity in this one. And then in the case of Jordan Peele, he's creating a lane dealing with race in the genre of suspenseful thriller or horror, borderline horror. So, I do feel like he's in the zeitgeist right now. As the writing was great. Like I mentioned before, I see the influence of Argento in the way he shoots, Hitchcock also, and in the way that he writes. The scoring was awesome. It created a landscape that I would really believe. It built up the tension, and sustain that tension that you want to have, pretty much like in, like what P.T. Anderson did with.
He even took a rap song that you wouldn't think to associate with horror and totally twisted.
Exactly.
I mean, it was just so well
Back
done.
to what you were saying with Halloween, like I think back when I first saw the first Halloween at the end with the Mr. Sandman.
Yeah.
I was like, what the it was so.
Exactly.
But to take something, I mean, that takes skill. I mean, it's really smart. I'm looking so forward to seeing what he thinks of next. He's creating a whole new genre, a whole new cinematic language, and like I said, I give it a 5 on that.
And what's interesting, you said it depends on what lens it's kind of what I mean by preconceived notion, John. I'll never forget, there's a movie, and most people hate it. I even try to get these guys to watch it. And I think you like it though, John. There's a movie called Darkness with Anna Paquin.
Yeah.
And I remember I watched that movie, it came out in the theaters for the first time, I think like 2002 or something like that. And at the time, the jump scare type movies were getting big again, and I think this was the time when The Ring and all that stuff kind of came out. That was kind of like the fashion of horror movies at the time. So I went into that movie in the theater with that in mind, and I hated it. I was like, this movie sucks. You know what I'm saying? I watched it years later on TV, and I loved it.
Yeah,
I loved it, and it's now one of my favorite horror movies.
What's a filmmaker? Peter Bogdanovich, the filmmaker Peter Bogdanovich. What he would do when he watches it, he would watch a film, and I also do it too. When I first see a film, I write down my thoughts, my impression, how I felt with it, and then of course, and then I would go back to that film, maybe a year, maybe two. Sometimes films I've seen back in the '80s I haven't seen since the '80s. I watch over, because you've see it with a more educated eye, or you don't see, or things that or movies I did like, I was like, wow, that was horrible.
Yeah.
Or the movies I didn't like, I found like I'm like that was a really good movie. Why didn't I see it? So some things you have to live with, like in the case of music. But you gotta understand, filmmaking and storytelling is. Filmmaking encompasses all the art films. It includes story writing, images, music, all that. Lighting. I mean, and to make it, to use it in a way to convey information, to have an emotional thread with people, is very, very hard. I mean, like I said, I mean, Jordan Peele is he's doing some phenomenal work. I'm looking forward, like I said, that he's creating a whole new lane. I'm looking forward to that new movie, Ma. You've seen that?
Is this supposed to be another one that he's doing?
No, it's not what it is. It looks interesting. Yeah, but
what is it called again?
Ma.
Ma. Oh, okay, yeah, I have seen it. The trailer for it. Yeah.
So
is that the one where the lady buys the drinks for the underage kids? Yeah. And we were looking at it, and we saw the trailer. We were like, man, they could easily call this Mammy. You know what I'm saying? Like the Mammy from hell. You know what I'm saying?
So
but,
can't get rid of
and it goes to what we were talking about before. Like, there's that truth of America that's always been presented in a way where it either is like, the white man's always the hero who has to save the black people and everybody else. Or they deal with race, but it's always in a way that makes white people feel comfortable. You know what I'm saying? And now we're starting to see that change come in, where it's like, and they're doing it through horror. It seems like a lot, where okay, you're showing America the truth of itself. You know what I'm saying? Through this medium in a way that's really never been done before.
But we're starting to see it from our perspective.
Exactly.
I mean, you've seen the movie. You've read the book, The Great Gatsby, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've seen, if you remember or have seen the film, this unknown guy came out of nowhere, and and who's this woman and all this stuff. And then when I first read it, and then I thought I was the only one. I mean, I didn't think I was the only one, but when I first read it, I said, well, this guy, he's passing. This is a black guy passing to white. And that's really and I remember sharing that with some people, some white people who read. Said, I had never thought of it that way. I said, this movie is, this story is set in the 30s, and the one guy is this racist guy, and he makes references like, and in the story, he says, I have 40 acres in a mansion, and instead of, well, that's 40 acres in a mule.
Yeah.
I mean, like little references like that.
Exactly, yeah.
But it's like, they didn't pick it up for, because they see it from their perspective.
From their perspective,
Yeah. So I just think, for what Jordan's doing, it's really smart. It's really smart, and you can see it from what they were doing with Key and Peele. Really smart stuff. I mean, a lot of people get mad with me. When I would bring up, I was like, you know what? To be honest with you, if I had to choose between Dave Chappelle.
Dude, I was just about to say it. I actually think it's funnier.
Yeah, I actually think it's funnier.
A lot of people disagree with me, but I actually think it's something funnier.
That show was funnier. It was very, very good.
I thought so too.
Better than I love Dave Chappelle, but like I said, and to be able to translate that to the big screen is not an easy feat. But yeah.
So,
he was looking at his watch.
So, John, any last words before we end this? Because you're the only one who gave it a 2, so I figured you weren't part of the other segment, so I was like, I figured I need the last word.
I don't think it was that good. I'm sorry, I'm not impressed. I'm sorry. Don't care for Jordan Peele. Don't care.
You don't care for Jordan Peele?
No, I said I don't care that it's Jordan Peele.
Oh,
whatever.
Okay. All right.
No, I'm sorry.
Here's the thing though, like after Get Out, I wasn't convinced that he was going to make another movie that was as good. So I didn't go in with this is Jordan Peele, this got to be good. Matter of fact, I was when I was going to the movie, I was like, man, John didn't like it, and some other people I respect. Even Dario was like, Dario said kind of the same thing you said. He said he thought there was too many themes in one movie. He said the same thing. So him saying that, you saying it, hearing Antonio Moore speak, even though Antonio Moore's coming from a biased perspective too. So I went in and I turned that off, and I just looked at the movie for it, and I enjoyed it. I really did. I thought it was really good. So, any last words?
Oh, what about you?
The same enjoyment.
Oh, I have to give it, man. I think it was an excellent movie. I give it like a 4. There's room for improvement, but I had a good time, and it was way more than what I expected.
Improvement where?
Especially the second act. I thought that was the whole movie.
What would I improve it at?
And it was predictable.
I think some of the Bible stuff, man. If you knew what the 11 was, maybe you'd know a little more. I mean, everything can always be improved, and that's the only reason I said that.
He did say that he put stuff in there so people will have to go back and do some research.
See,
so that could have been his.
I was going to give it a 4.5, but the more I thought about it, I was like, nah, that's a 5. If I give it anything lower, it's because I just want to give it lower. It's a 5. I mean,
exactly.
It's good.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's that good. It's as good as any Hitchcock film.
Yeah.
Or anything that's come out that's in the same vein. You know what I'm saying? So, with that, we're going to end it there. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, check out. What was it called? Still Harlem?
Yes, Still Harlem.
Yes, and America Street on Amazon.
Yes.
Please check out Travis Pearson, the great director of photography, great director, great movie maker in general. Check it out, and thank you for joining in. Cut.